Hey there, adventurer. Imagine this. The winds are strong. The sky is heavy with the promise of something unknown. You are standing on the shores of Scandinavia, surrounded by Viking ships, their dragon-shaped prows cutting through the cold waters. The crew is preparing for a journey like no other, one that could change the course of history or, well, end it. But what if you had the chance to sail with them? What if you could feel the pulse of adventure in your veins, the call of distant, unexplored lands? Before we embark on this wild ride, take a moment, smash that like button. Let me know where you are watching from, and if you are ready to set sail on this journey of mystery and discovery. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, but only if you are truly ready. Okay, alright, let us get started. Picture this, it is the year 793. The Vikings are gearing up for a voyage, but this one is different. They are not just raiding villages along the coast. Oh no, they are venturing into uncharted territories, beyond the familiar seas. It is a gamble, really. No maps, no compass, just the stars, the sea, and the unrelenting will to conquer. You are in the crew, ready to take on the unknown. But as the ship rocks with the rising tide, one thought crosses your mind. How many of those who've sailed before have never returned? What dangers lie ahead? The sea has a way of taking the bold and the wild. So, are you ready to face whatever comes next? Are you prepared to embrace the unknown with nothing but your courage and your wits? Sailing with the Vikings means one thing: survival is not a given. It is earned. And if you are willing to risk it all, then let us see what awaits on the other side of the horizon. What will you do when faced with the dangers of the unknown? Now that you are on board, it is time to talk about the vessel that will carry you across vast, unforgiving seas. Viking ships, specifically. The longships were marvels of their time. Have you ever wondered how these wooden wonders managed to navigate the wildest waters with such speed and precision? Take a moment to imagine this. A ship so sleek and efficient, built from oak wood, with a design that allowed it to cut through both shallow rivers and the vast ocean with equal ease. These ships were not just for sailing. They were tools of exploration, warfare, and survival. The Vikings knew how to build for the harshest conditions. Each longship was crafted with over 100 skilled hands, bending wood, weaving iron, and assembling a vessel that could withstand both stormy seas and enemy fire. But here's the real kicker. The secrets of Viking shipbuilding were not just about craftsmanship. It is believed that they used a method known as clinker building. This technique involved overlapping planks of wood, which made the hull more flexible and durable. Combine that with the shallow draft, and you had a ship that could glide across the water like a fish, able to land on beaches without much trouble. Vikings did not just sail, they conquered, and they did it with these perfect machines of war and exploration. So, how did these ships manage to endure voyages that could last months? Well, the Vikings did not rely on fancy navigation systems or precise maps. Instead, they followed the stars and natural landmarks, often using the sun's position and the movement of the stars to plot their course. The ship's design allowed them to adapt to whatever nature threw at them, from the freezing waters of the North Sea to the turbulent Atlantic. These ships were the ideal tool for the job. But wait, what about the most mysterious part of the Viking ships, the figurehead? These carvings, usually of dragons, wolves, or other mythical creatures, were not just for decoration. They served a symbolic purpose, scaring off evil spirits, protecting the crew, and even granting them favor from the gods. Did the Vikings truly believe in the supernatural power of these figureheads, or was it just a way to motivate the crew, giving them something to believe in as they ventured into the unknown? There is no clear answer, but one thing is certain: these ships were far more than mere transportation. They were instruments of destiny, carrying Viking explorers into the heart of unknown lands and perhaps unknowable realms. Alright, now that you are on the ship and the wind is in your hair, let us talk about the most crucial part of this journey: navigating the unknown. The Viking explorers did not have GPS or a shiny new map to guide them. No, they had to rely on something far more ancient and perhaps far more mystical. At first glance, it seems nearly impossible. How did these seafaring warriors, with their limited tools, managed to navigate vast oceans. The truth is, they relied heavily on the stars, the sun, and a deep understanding of the natural world around them. Imagine this as you are sailing across the open sea. You are not just looking for the nearest island, you are looking for the subtle signs of the world's hidden secrets. The Vikings used something called sun compasses to help them find their way. These compasses were rudimentary, yet surprisingly effective. They would place a flat piece of wood on the deck and align it with the sun's position. From there, they could estimate the direction they needed to travel. And this was not just about finding land. It was about knowing where they were in the vastness of the ocean. That is right, they could navigate the open waters, using only the sun's rays and their understanding of the sky. They knew how to read the light, how the rays would shift as they moved through different latitudes, and how to make sense of the natural world above them. But wait, there is more. The Vikings also relied on a special type of map known as the knot chart, a technique that could help them track their position. Knot charts were essentially visual maps that allowed the Vikings to keep track of landmarks, currents, and the distances between various islands. Think of them like a mental map, etched into their minds through years of experience and oral tradition. The Vikings did not need a printed map to survive. They had an inner compass, built on generations of knowledge passed down through word of mouth. Now, here's where things get even more intriguing. While they were navigating the oceans, they did not just use physical tools, they also believed in the guidance of the gods. According to some accounts, they used the North Star, Polaris, as a way to find their way home. The idea was that the gods watched over their journey, guiding them to safety and back to their homeland. Whether or not you believe in divine intervention, it is clear that the Vikings had a deep connection with the supernatural when it came to their travels. So, what is the takeaway here? The Vikings did not just rely on their skill, they relied on their instincts, their beliefs, and their understanding of the world in ways we might not even be able to comprehend. They did not just chart a course, they followed a path set by the stars, the gods, and the forces of nature itself. And when the sea was calm, and the stars aligned, they knew they were on the right path. After days, maybe even weeks, at sea, your Viking ship finally reaches the distant shore. The land you have been sailing toward is unlike anything you have ever seen before. The shore stretches out in front of you, a wild, untamed landscape, with jagged cliffs rising sharply from the sea, and dense forests that seem to whisper secrets on the wind. You can almost feel the ancient history of this place, as if the land itself holds memories of civilizations long gone. As the ship anchors in the shallow waters, your heart races. The crew is tense, unsure of what lies ahead. The air is thick with uncertainty, but also with excitement. This could be a discovery of legendary proportions, or it could be their final stop. But you are here, and there is no turning back. Stepping onto the shore for the first time, the soil beneath your feet feels different, strange, even. It is not like the earth you have known in Scandinavia. The ground is soft and spongy, and the scent of the air is unfamiliar. A strange mix of herbs, damp earth, and something otherworldly. As you look around, you spot the dense, dark forest ahead. It is alive with sounds you can't identify, rustling leaves, distant howls, and the occasional caw of strange birds. You are not alone. Suddenly, the first of many surprises hits you. Out from the underbrush, a creature emerges. It is unlike anything you have seen before, a massive, four-legged beast, its skin covered in thick fur. It looks at you with glowing eyes, and you can feel the tension in the air as it studies you. A wolf, a bear, no one knows. The crew is on edge, their weapons ready, but the creature does not attack. Instead, it retreats into the forest, disappearing as mysteriously as it arrived. Your heart pounds in your chest, but you can't help but feel an odd sense of awe. This is no ordinary land. It is a place of mystery, of legends waiting to be uncovered. The Vikings believed that the world was full of magical creatures and spirits. And in this land, you start to wonder if those old tales were more than just stories. Were these creatures real? Were they the guardians of this strange land, watching over it for centuries? Or were they something else, something that defied explanation? The further you venture into the forest, the more the world feels like a dream. The trees are unnaturally tall, their branches twisting in ways that seem to defy logic. The air grows thicker, heavier, as if the land itself is holding its breath. It is here that you realize you are no longer just an explorer. You are a part of something ancient, something far older than you can comprehend. And then, as you approach a clearing, you see something even more baffling, a stone circle. But this is not just any circle, it is made of massive stones, each carved with strange symbols, runes that seem to glow faintly in the dim light. The air around the stones crackles with energy, and a feeling of unease settles in your gut. This is no ordinary monument. This is something sacred. The crew gathers around the stones, unsure of what to do. Some want to touch the symbols, to understand them, but others warn against disturbing whatever power lies within this ancient circle. The tension is palpable. It is as if the land itself is watching, waiting to see what you will do next. Will you touch the stones, or will you leave them undisturbed, respecting the ancient power that seems to pulse from them? In the distance, you hear the sound of movement, rustling leaves, footsteps in the forest. The Vikings are not the only ones on this land. There is something else out there watching you. The land, the creatures, the ancient stones, they all seem to be part of a grand mystery. A secret that only those who dare to face it can uncover. But as night begins to fall, you realize something else. This place is not just mysterious. It is dangerous. The creatures, the strange symbols, the unknown forces, it is all building to something. You can feel it. You are on the edge of something ancient, something powerful. What lies ahead could be more than just a discovery. Could be the unlocking of a power that has remained hidden for centuries. By now, you have realized that the land you have entered is not just a place of strange creatures and mysterious stones. It is a world that will test your very will to survive. The Vikings may have been fierce warriors, but their survival was not solely dependent on their strength. It was about endurance, resourcefulness, and a deep understanding of nature's cycles. And now, as you set foot in this untamed land, you will quickly learn that surviving here is not a matter of bravery alone. It is about the ability to adapt to the elements, to outlast what nature throws at you. As you venture deeper into the wilderness, the first thing you notice is the weather. It is unpredictable, shifting from warm and calm to violent storms in a matter of hours. The skies seem to darken for no reason, and before you know it, the heavens open up, pouring rain down upon you and your crew. The winds howl, making it impossible to hear anything over the roaring gusts. It is as if the land itself is trying to test you. How far can you go before the elements break your spirit? You know the signs. You have heard the old tales of Viking voyages where storms would appear out of nowhere, as if summoned by the gods themselves. But this feels different. The air grows colder, sharper, and with every gust of wind, you feel it cut through your bones. The cold is relentless, and soon, even the bravest warriors are struggling to keep warm. The ships are tossed violently in the waves, and there is no telling when the storm will end. You have to hold fast, relying on the skills passed down through generations to weather the storm. But will you make it through? The rain is so heavy it is nearly impossible to see, and the ship creaks and groans under the pressure of the waves. Your hands are raw from gripping the ropes, and you can feel the exhaustion setting in. But you push forward. You have to. There is no turning back now. The crew is depending on you, and you can't afford to show any weakness. You hold onto the mast as the ship rocks from side to side, praying for the storm to pass. As the hours stretch on, you begin to realize that this is not just about surviving the storm, it is about surviving the land itself. The food supply is running low. You were prepared for a journey across the sea, but you never anticipated running low on provisions so quickly. The forests here are dense and wild, and finding food is proving to be more difficult than you thought. The animals are elusive, and the harsh weather makes hunting near impossible. The Vikings were known for their ability to forage, but this place is unlike anything they had ever encountered. The nights are the worst. The cold seeps into your bones, and sleep is a luxury you can't afford. Every rustle in the trees, every snap of a twig, feels like a potential threat. The land is alive, and it is not giving you any favors. You can feel the eyes of something, perhaps the very gods themselves, watching your every move. This is a test, a trial by fire. You must prove that you have what it takes to survive. But it is not just about the elements. It is about the psychological toll, too. The isolation, the constant fear of what is lurking just beyond your sight. The crew begins to fray at the edges. Tensions rise as hunger and exhaustion set in. There are whispers in the dark. Some believe that the land is cursed, that the gods have turned against them. Others are certain that they are being watched by something far more sinister, something that is not human. The line between reality and myth begins to blur. This is no longer just a battle against the storm. It is a battle against the very land itself, a battle to maintain your sanity, your strength, and your will to continue. The Vikings were survivors, but even they knew that the elements could break a man. So what will you do now? Will you break? Or will you push through, relying on your Viking instincts to survive the worst nature can throw at you? By now, you have seen firsthand that this land is not just filled with dangers from the natural world. It seems to be brimming with something far more mysterious, something ancient and supernatural. The Vikings themselves were no strangers to the mystical forces of the world. They believed that gods, spirits, and creatures from beyond the mortal realm played a crucial role in shaping their destiny. As you delve deeper into the wilderness, you can't help but wonder, are you truly alone in this land, or are the spirits of old watching your every move? The Vikings had an intricate belief system, filled with gods and goddesses, each with their own domains and powers. Odin, the All-Father, was the god of wisdom, war, and death. Thor, the thunder god, was known for his strength and protection. And Freya, the goddess of love and fertility, held sway over life and death. But it was not just the gods of the Norse pantheon that held power. There were also spirits and mythical creatures that roamed the earth, air, and sea. These beings, ranging from the terrifying to the benevolent, were believed to influence the fates of the living. As you venture deeper into the land, you begin to see signs of these supernatural forces. The wind seems to carry whispers of forgotten stories, of old battles fought by gods long past. The trees bend in unnatural ways, as though they are alive and conscious of your presence. And then, one evening, as the sun dips below the horizon, you hear it, the howl of a wolf. It is not the sound of any ordinary wolf, though. This howl is deep, mournful, and otherworldly. It sends a chill down your spine, as though it is not just an animal in the forest, but something far more ancient, perhaps a spirit from the realm of the dead. You remember the stories your elders told you back in Scandinavia, of the wolves that roamed the woods, said to be the harbingers of doom. Were these just tales to frighten children, or were they rooted in some deeper truth? As you look into the darkening forest, you can't shake the feeling that you are being watched by something far older than you can comprehend. The Vikings believed that the land was full of unseen eyes, watching, judging, guiding. The gods and spirits were not distant figures for them. They were close, intimate presences, shaping the course of events in the mortal world. As the days go by, the supernatural presence grows stronger. You begin to notice things you had not before. The animals here seem to act differently. Strange behaviors, unexplainable movements. A flock of crows circles overhead, watching you with what feels like intent. The northern lights flicker in the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the landscape. You can't help but think that these lights are more than just a natural phenomenon. Perhaps they are a sign, a signal from the gods or spirits guiding your way. In one particularly eerie encounter, the crew stumbles upon a strange figure in the woods. It is a woman, dressed in furs and wearing a headdress of feathers. She speaks in a language you do not understand, but her eyes are filled with a deep, knowing wisdom. She looks at you as though she has seen this moment before, as though she knows the very purpose of your journey. Before you can speak, she vanishes into the trees, leaving you with nothing but a sense of awe and fear. The crew is divided. Some believe that this woman was a spirit, a guardian of the land. Others think she was just a wanderer, a person from another settlement. But you can't shake the feeling that you have encountered something far more significant. The lines between myth and reality are blurring. And you start to wonder, is there a hidden power in this land, one that the Vikings recognized and revered? As the days turn into weeks, the supernatural occurrences only intensify. You begin to hear the sounds of footsteps behind you when no one is there. Strange shapes move in the corners of your vision. The atmosphere grows thick with a sense of dread and anticipation. It is as though the very land is alive with power, an ancient force that has been waiting for centuries to be awakened. The crew becomes restless, uneasy. Some begin to question their sanity. They whisper about curses, about ancient gods angry at their intrusion. But no matter how hard they try to dismiss the strange occurrences, they can't ignore the feeling that something is watching, waiting. Is this land truly cursed? Or is it a place where the gods and spirits still walk among the living? The Vikings were always attuned to the supernatural, whether they were seeking the favor of the gods or fighting off malevolent spirits. They knew that the land was more than just earth and stone. It was alive, and it held secrets far beyond their understanding. And now, as you journey through this mysterious land, you realize that you are not just battling the elements and the creatures of this world. You are also battling something far older, something that has been here long before any of you. The question is, can you survive in a world where the supernatural is as real as the wind in your sails? The land you have stepped into is not only filled with mysteries and dangers from the natural world, it is also testing the limits of your crew's unity. As the days drag on and the elements continue to challenge you, the once cohesive group of Vikings begins to unravel. You have sailed together, fought together, and survived countless storms. But here, in this foreign land, something is changing. Tensions are rising, and fractures are beginning to show in your group. It starts with something small, an argument over the best route to take through the forest. Some of the crew want to head west, believing that there is more land to discover, while others want to turn back. You, the crew member who has always been the voice of reason, feel the weight of the decision on your shoulders. The stakes have never been higher. The longer you stay in this place, the more the unknowns seem to close in. There is no safety here, not in the storms, not in the creatures, and certainly not in each other. As the arguments escalate, it becomes clear that these are not just disagreements over the path forward. They are deeper, more personal. Cultural differences begin to rear their heads. Some of the crew still hold onto their pagan beliefs, invoking the gods to bless their journey, while others are influenced by the Christianity that has begun to spread in the Viking world. What happens when these two belief systems collide? When some see the land as sacred and others see it as a place to conquer? When the gods you once prayed to seem absent, and you wonder if your prayers have gone unanswered? It is not just religion that divides the crew, it is fear too. The longer you stay in this eerie land, the more the fear of the unknown creeps in. The creatures, the strange occurrences, the unrelenting weather, all of it begins to erode the trust that once bound you together. People start seeing shadows in the trees, hearing voices in the wind. The isolation takes its toll. Some believe they are being watched, that the land itself is cursed, while others think there is a malevolent force following them, waiting to strike. At night, you hear whispers, members of the crew speaking in hushed tones, speaking of escape, of abandoning the journey. Some speak of abandoning the sick or the injured. Others debate whether to head back to the ship and sail home. There is no unity left. The bonds of brotherhood, once so strong, are now strained and fragile. You know that if the crew fractures, the whole mission could fail. If you do not come together, you might not survive this land. But how do you keep the group united when doubt and fear take hold? How do you convince people to keep going when every part of them wants to turn back? And how do you reconcile with the land itself, which seems to be pushing you to your limits? The worst moment comes when one of the crew members, one you considered a friend, leaves in the dead of night. They do not say goodbye, just vanish into the dark. Some say they went to seek the gods, others believe they just could not take it anymore. Regardless of the reason, the fact remains that your crew is now even more divided. Who can you trust now? Can you rely on the others to stay strong? Or are you all doomed to collapse under the weight of your own fear? With every passing day, the internal conflict becomes more dangerous than the external threats. The crew is falling apart, and you realize that you can't just survive the elements. You need to survive each other. Your Viking spirit, your unity, has been tested to its breaking point. But the journey is not over yet, and the land still holds secrets. If you can't pull together, you will never make it out alive. As your journey through this mysterious land continues, the line between reality and legend begins to blur. You have already witnessed the supernatural in ways that defy understanding. The howling wolves, the strange whispers carried by the wind, but now, the creatures and forces of the unknown are stepping out of the shadows. And what you encounter next will push you to question everything you thought you knew about the world. It starts with a shape in the distance, a massive shadow moving swiftly through the trees. At first, you think it is just another illusion, a trick of the light or a movement of the wind. But then the shape grows clearer. It is enormous, too large to be any animal you have ever seen. The creature moves with an eerie grace, its body sleek and serpentine. Is it a giant snake, a mythical beast, perhaps a dragon? As you stare in disbelief, it disappears into the thick forest, leaving behind only the echo of its presence. The crew is divided. Some believe it was nothing more than a mirage, a product of their strained minds, worn thin by fear and exhaustion. But you know better. Deep down, you feel it. Something far older than you can comprehend is watching you, guiding you, or perhaps even toying with you. The land is full of mysteries, and it seems the creatures here are not just figments of myth. They are real, and they are part of this ancient world. As you push further into the land, the signs of the mystical become undeniable. Strange, glowing marks appear on the trees, as though they have been carved by an unseen hand. Some of the crew start to see shadows flitting between the branches, while others hear soft, musical notes carried by the wind. It is as though the very forest itself is alive, breathing with an ancient energy. And then there is the matter of the sea. On one particular night, the moon hangs low in the sky, casting an eerie glow on the ocean. You and the crew stand at the edge of the shore, gazing out over the calm water. Suddenly, the water begins to churn, as if something is rising from beneath. At first, it is a small ripple, but then the surface breaks open and you see it. A massive creature, its form barely visible beneath the waves. Its body glows faintly, a sickly green, and its enormous shape is unlike anything you have ever imagined. Is it a sea serpent, a monster from the depths? The crew is paralyzed with fear, unable to move as the creature looms just beneath the surface of the water. It does not attack, it simply watches. It is as though it is waiting for something, its massive eyes locked onto yours. The tension is unbearable. But then, just as quickly as it appeared, the creature vanishes beneath the waves, leaving you with nothing but a cold, empty feeling in your gut. The crew does not speak of it much after that. Some say it was a hallucination, a trick of the light, but you know better. The land, the sea, the creatures, they are all part of something ancient, something that the Vikings have always known but that the rest of the world has forgotten. The creatures here are guardians of the land, keepers of its secrets, and they will not allow you to trespass without consequence. As the days go on, you begin to notice more and more strange occurrences. The air around you seems to thrum with energy, as if the very fabric of reality is beginning to tear. You hear things that are not there, see things out of the corner of your eye that vanish when you turn to look. It is as though the land is alive with unseen forces, ancient and powerful, pushing against the fragile veil of human understanding. But not everyone in the crew shares your belief. Some of them are starting to doubt. They think the stress, the exhaustion, and the fear are taking their toll, clouding their judgment. And yet, as the nights grow darker and the creatures grow bolder, you know that the truth is far stranger than they can comprehend. The Vikings believed in these creatures and forces, and their gods were tied directly to the world around them. They understood that there were realms beyond the mortal plane, and that the creatures and spirits of those realms could influence the world in ways they could not fully explain. Now, as you stand at the edge of this unknown land, you realize that the legends were not just stories, they were warnings. You are walking in a world where the line between the living and the dead is thin, where ancient forces still hold sway. And if you are to survive, you must understand this: the land itself has its own rules, and it is up to you to figure out how to navigate them. Can you survive the mystical forces of this land? Or will you become just another story to be told around the fire, another casualty of the gods' whims? As the days stretch on and the crew grows more fractured, something incredible happens. The land that once seemed so inhospitable, so full of danger, begins to reveal its secrets. It starts slowly at first: strange markings on the stones, an unusual arrangement of trees, and the subtle shape of a pathway that seems to lead deeper into the heart of the land. It is almost as if the land itself is inviting you to uncover what lies beneath its surface, like a puzzle waiting to be solved. One evening, while exploring a particularly dense forest, you stumble upon something that stops you dead in your tracks: a massive stone archway, its surface covered in ancient runes, glowing faintly in the dim light. The runes are not like any you have seen before. These are not Viking symbols. They are something older, something even the elders of your village have never spoken of. The air around the archway feels different, charged with energy, as if crossing it would transport you to another world. The crew is both excited and fearful. Some want to approach the archway to uncover what lies beyond, while others believe it is too dangerous. This is the first sign of something truly ancient, and the air is thick with the feeling that you are standing on the precipice of something great and potentially catastrophic. You decide to enter, led by curiosity and the pull of something far beyond the physical realm. As you step through the archway, the world around you changes. The forest seems to quiet, the air grows heavier, and the sounds of the animals fade into an eerie silence. The ground beneath your feet feels different, firmer, almost as if the earth itself is responding to your presence. You venture further, and that is when you see it. An entire city, hidden beneath the canopy, its stone structures half buried by centuries of dirt and foliage. The city is unlike anything you have ever seen. The architecture is far more advanced than anything the Vikings, or any civilization you know, could have built. The stones are perfectly cut, stacked with a precision that speaks of a knowledge lost to time. There are strange carvings on the walls, depictions of creatures that do not exist in the natural world, and symbols that seem to pulse with a life of their own. You can't help but feel that you have stumbled upon something both wondrous and forbidden. The city is older than any of the legends your people have told. It is not just the work of an ancient civilization, it is the remnants of a culture lost to history, one that perhaps existed long before the Vikings ever set foot on these lands. But what happened to it? Why was it abandoned? What happened to its people? The questions hang heavy in the air, and the crew is split. Some want to explore further, convinced that this is the discovery of a lifetime, while others are afraid of what lies hidden in the city's shadows, afraid of what has been left behind. You push forward, and soon you discover something even more unsettling. In the heart of the city lies a massive stone temple, its entrance guarded by statues of creatures you can't quite identify. Monsters, beasts, or gods, it is hard to say. The temple is carved with the same runes you saw on the archway, and the energy here is stronger, more concentrated. Something is inside, something that has been waiting for centuries. When you step inside, the air grows colder. There, in the center of the temple, you find a stone altar, large, imposing, and covered in dust. But it is the carvings on the altar that catch your attention. They tell a story of a civilization that once thrived here, a civilization that was destroyed by something that came from the depths of the earth or the skies. The carvings depict scenes of war, of gods warring against monsters, of great battles fought in the heavens. And at the center of it all is a symbol that you recognize. A symbol that has appeared in the most mysterious places during your journey. It is the same symbol you saw on the runes of the archway. It is a symbol of power, of magic, of something that has been lost to time. The crew gathers around, and you can feel the weight of the moment. This is the discovery of a lifetime, but it is also a warning. The symbols on the altar speak of destruction, of a force that is beyond your understanding. The gods of old are not just myths, they were real, and their power is still here, buried beneath the earth. The question is, who was this civilization, and what did they unleash upon the world? As you stand in the shadow of the temple, you realize that this land is not just a place of mystery. It is a place of great power, power that has been dormant for centuries. The question now is not what lies beneath the ground, but what you will do with the knowledge you have uncovered. The land has shown you its secrets, but with them comes the burden of understanding the true cost of this discovery. Can you survive the knowledge of what has been hidden here for so long? Or will the power of the ancient civilization consume you, just as it consumed them? Standing before the ancient ruins of a civilization long lost to time, the weight of your journey settles in. You have seen the impossible, discovered the forgotten, and uncovered secrets that were never meant to be found. But now, the real question remains, what will you do next? The crew is divided. Some want to turn back, to return to the safety of the sea, to the world they know. They have seen enough, they say. The power of this land, the mysterious forces, the creatures lurking in the shadows, it is all too much. The toll of fear, exhaustion, and the strange happenings that have plagued them since entering this land have driven them to the brink. They want to go home. But then, there are others who argue for continuing the journey. For them, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They believe that the discovery of this lost city, of the power buried beneath the earth, could change the course of history. This is not just about survival anymore, it is about conquest. The ancient civilization here may have been destroyed, but what if they left behind something that could be harnessed? Something that could make the Vikings more powerful than ever before. You stand at the crossroads, torn between two paths. On one hand, returning to the ship means safety, returning to the familiar, to the life you once knew. But on the other hand, venturing further into the unknown means potential glory. But at what cost? The knowledge you have uncovered has already altered your understanding of the world. What if you leave now, only to wonder for the rest of your life what could have been? What if this is your only chance to uncover something truly monumental? As the sun sets, casting long shadows over the ruins, the weight of your decision becomes almost unbearable. The crew looks to you for guidance. But how can you lead them when you are unsure of the right choice? How can you lead them when you, too, are torn between the pull of the familiar and the call of the unknown? You know that the journey has already changed you. You have come to understand that this land, with all its mysteries, is a force that cannot be ignored. But is it a force you can control, or is it a force that will consume you, just as it consumed the civilization that came before? The power here is undeniable. But is it worth the price of your soul? As the night draws near, and the decision looms ever larger, you realize something crucial. This is more than just a choice of whether to turn back or continue forward. It is a choice between returning to the safety of the known, or stepping into the abyss of the unknown and embracing what comes, no matter the consequences. The land calls to you. Its power, its mysteries are too great to ignore. But are you ready to face what lies ahead? The crew waits for your decision, and you must choose. Will you return, or will you conquer? The question is not just about what lies ahead in this mysterious land. It is about what you will become once you have made that choice. The journey is coming to an end. The land, with all its mysteries, secrets, and dangers, now lies behind you. The crew is weary, battered by the elements and the trials they have faced. But the question remains, what have you learned? What will you take with you from this place, this forgotten world? As you stand on the edge of the land, looking back at the ruins, you can't help but feel a sense of loss. You have uncovered the secrets of an ancient civilization. Witnessed things that defy belief, and come face to face with forces that are beyond understanding. But in doing so, you have also lost something. The innocence, perhaps, the belief that the world is simple and predictable. The land has shown you that nothing is ever truly as it seems. What you thought was a world of myths and legends is, in fact, a world of real power, real consequences. The question that lingers in your mind is this: was it worth it? Was the knowledge you have gained worth the toll it took on your crew, on yourself? You have seen firsthand the dangers of seeking out what is hidden, the price of uncovering truths that were never meant to be known. Yet, there is no denying that the discoveries made here will change the course of history. The land is rich with power, power that could alter the balance of the world. But at what cost? Looking around at your crew, you see that the journey has changed them too. They are not the same people who set sail all those weeks ago. The land has left its mark on them, in ways both visible and invisible. Some are eager to return to the familiar, to leave behind the unknown. Others are still drawn to the mysteries, still hungry for the knowledge that lies just beyond reach. But all of them, in their own way, have been altered. They have seen the depths of human fear and courage, the power of belief, and the strength of unity and division. The journey has taught them more than they could have ever imagined. And now, as you stand at the threshold of returning to the sea, you realize that this is not just the end of a journey, it is the beginning of something else. The land has changed you, and in return, you have changed the land. The stories of this place will echo through history, passed down to those who come after you. But you can't help but wonder, what will they make of it? Will they understand the lessons you have learned? Will they be prepared for the consequences of seeking the truth? The final question is yours to answer. What will you do with what you have uncovered? Will you return to the world you once knew, carrying the weight of the past with you? Or will you continue to seek the unknown, venturing further into the mysteries of the world, regardless of the cost, as you sail away, leaving the land behind? The answers may not be clear, but one thing is certain: the journey has changed you forever.